All right, let's get into it. You know, when we think about our bodies, our minds usually jump to the big shots: the heart, the brain, the lungs, right? But today we're going to talk about a real unsung hero, one that's working tirelessly behind the scenes, and that's the urinary system. And believe me, it is so much more than just, well, plumbing. It's actually a super sophisticated chemical balancing act, and it's keeping you alive and healthy every single second of the day. I mean, that sounds pretty dramatic, doesn't it? Toxic levels of garbage that need to be cleaned up before they kill you. But here's the thing, it's totally true. Every single time you eat something, especially protein, your body's metabolism, the basic process of just living, it makes a mess. It creates all these byproducts, basically internal garbage, that if you just left it there, would turn toxic, and fast. So here's the core of the problem. When your body breaks down protein into amino acids, there's this leftover nitrogen part, and it has to go somewhere, right? Well, the body first turns it into ammonia, which is seriously toxic stuff. Your liver, being the amazing organ it is, quickly converts that into a much less harmful substance called urea. But even then, you've still got to get it out of your body. And that is the central mission the urinary system was designed for. And that's where this incredible system comes into play. It's the body's cleanup crew, the perfect, elegant solution to all that metabolic mess we're constantly making.
But, and this is a huge but, if you think it's just about waste disposal, you're really selling it short. Its real job, its main gig, is maintaining homeostasis. That perfect, stable internal environment your body needs to, well, not fall apart. It is an absolute master regulator.
And just look at its resume. It's not just doing one thing. It's controlling your water levels, the balance of crucial things like sodium and potassium. It's keeping your blood pH right where it needs to be. It helps control your blood pressure. And get this, it even has a say in telling your bones to make more red blood cells and helps activate vitamin D. I mean, talk about a multitasking powerhouse.
Okay, so how does it actually do all this stuff? Let's take a quick look at the basic plumbing, the hardware that makes it all happen.
It's a really logical flow, actually, in four main parts. First, you've got the kidneys. These two bean-shaped organs, about the size of your fist, do all the heavy lifting. They're the filters. From the kidneys, the newly formed urine travels down these two tubes called the ureters. They lead to the bladder, which is basically an expandable storage tank. And then finally, when you decide the time is right, it all exits through the urethra. Simple, right? And super effective.
But here's where your mind is going to be blown. The scale of this is just incredible. Inside each of your kidneys, there are about 1 million of these tiny microscopic filtering units. They're called nephrons. So think about that. This isn't just one big filter. It's a million tiny little processing plants all working together. That's where the real magic is.
So let's zoom way in. Forget the whole kidney for a second, and let's just look at one of those million nephrons. We're going from the big picture down to the microscopic level to see how blood actually gets turned into urine. Now, this is pretty cool because it's not what you'd expect. You might think the kidneys work like a strainer, just picking out the bad stuff, but it's actually the total opposite. And this fridge analogy is just perfect. Imagine cleaning out your fridge. You don't just pick out the moldy cheese, right? No, you take everything out onto the counter. Then you look at everything and decide what's good to put back in. That's what the kidneys do. They dump almost everything out of the blood. Good stuff, bad stuff, all of it. And then they meticulously put back only what the body needs. Everything left over, that's the garbage. And this whole fridge cleaning thing happens in 3 basic steps. First, there's filtration. That's taking everything out of the fridge. Then there's reabsorption. That's putting all the good stuff back. And finally, there's secretion. Think of that as one last look around the kitchen for any other trash you missed and tossing it in the bin. So let's just be super clear on these 2 key ideas because they're kind of opposites. Reabsorption is all about saving the good stuff. You're moving things out of that filtered liquid and putting it back into your blood. Secretion is the opposite. It's about dumping the bad stuff. You're actively pulling more waste out of the blood and putting it into that liquid that's about to become urine. One saves, the other dumps. Simple as that. Okay, you ready? Let's follow a drop of liquid on its wild journey through a nephron and see how it gets transformed step by step.
All right, our little tour has 4 main stops. First up, the glomerulus. Here, it's all about pressure. It literally squeezes a bunch of water and other small stuff out of the blood. That's the empty the fridge step. Next, at stop 2, the proximal tubule, the body immediately starts grabbing back all the good stuff it wants to keep. most of the water, glucose, essential ions. Stop 3, the loop of Henle, is super clever. It creates this really salty zone that helps pull even more water out of the liquid. And finally, at stop 4, the distal tubule and collecting duct, this is where the fine-tuning happens. Hormones jump in and make the final call on how much more water to save. After this stop, congratulations, it's officially urine. So, we've successfully manufactured the urine. Now what? Where does it go? Let's get to the final steps in the journey. Storage and, well, release.
You know, the bladder is a truly amazing organ. It's basically this muscular, stretchy bag, and I mean really stretchy. When it's empty, it's just a little collapsed triangle. But it can easily expand to hold something like 600 to 800 milliliters of urine. That's more than a large bottle of soda. And as it stretches, these little receptors in the wall send a message up to your brain that says, hey, you might want to start looking for a restroom soon.
And the actual process of urination, the fancy word is micturition, is controlled by 2 little muscular gates or sphincters. The first one, the internal one, is involuntary. When the bladder gets full enough, it just opens on its own. That's that, uh-oh, I really have to go feeling. But thankfully, we have a second gate, an external one that we do have conscious control over. And that's a very, very good thing, as you can imagine. Okay, let's tie all this incredible biology back to something we deal with every single day: hydration. Your body is constantly making these little decisions second by second about how much water to save and how much to get rid of, and it uses chemical messengers, hormones, to pull all the strings.
And the main hormone in this whole operation is called antidiuretic hormone, or just ADH. Think of ADH as the water conservation manager. When you're getting a little dehydrated, your brain releases it. ADH travels down to your kidneys and basically tells them, hey, hold on to more water. This makes the kidney tubules reabsorb more water back into your blood, and the result? You pee less, and what you do pee is more concentrated. It's your body's way of saving water.
And this finally explains something we've all experienced, right? Ever wondered why a cup of coffee or a beer has you running to the bathroom? Well, it's because caffeine and alcohol actually block ADH from being released. So without ADH telling the kidneys to save water, they just don't. More water stays in the filtrate, your bladder fills up faster, and that's why those drinks can actually make you dehydrated.
So, there you have it. From filtering out literal poisons to fine-tuning your body's entire chemical balance, the urinary system is doing so much more than we give it credit for. You know, for centuries, doctors have known that urine is like a window into our overall health. Its color, its concentration, it can tell you anything from, hey, you should probably drink some water, to signaling serious conditions like diabetes. So it kind of leaves you with one final question to think about, doesn't it? What is your body telling you today?